We're starting our newspaper show with a punch where the major headlines there: marketers blame depots as petrol near 1,000 naira per litre. This is interesting. Let's take a look at details of that. Let's see what that story says. Okay, amid worsening supply challenges and rising pump prices, petroleum marketers have begun move to import petrol independently as the commodity moved close to the 1,000 naira meter mark across major cities in the country. Marketers said supply constraints and production glitches at the Dangote Petroleum Refinery sparked fresh pressure in the downstream oil market. The National Publicity Secretary of the Independent Petroleum Marketers Association of Nigeria, Chinedu Okadike, confirmed the development in a telephone interview with Punch on Tuesday. According to him, members of the Depot and Petroleum Products Marketers Association of Nigeria are conducting arrangement to begin petrol importation as part of efforts to stabilize retail prices. He stated that petrol prices will soon drop as competition returns to the market if additional competition is brought into the sector. Okay, that's what that story says. Let's see what other headlines Punch have for us this morning. Strike. National Assembly wades into ASUU federal government dispute. Discos get 28 billion naira bailout for free meter rollout. Free meter rollout. Okay, that will be interesting. Arbitrary charges reps summons CBN and deposit money banks. Okay. Customs intercept smuggled 80.4 million naira fuel bound for Benin Republic. Ooh. And the Sport Eagles have good chance in playoffs. That's according to Odegbami. Edun, ailing finance minister flown abroad for treatment. Ekitepool, APC adopts consensus as Oyebamiji's rivals withdraws. Acting National Chair outlines preparations for Anambra poll. Tinubu urges Senate to confirm Amukwiton as INEC chairman, and court adjourns suit seeking to stop PDP convention. Those are the major headlines coming from Punch. Let's see. Okay, one of my favorite segments of the Punch, Metro Plus. Probe begins as gunmen kill 57-year-old Anambra farmer. And 105 drug dealers nabbed in Jigawa police raids. Abducted woman rescued in Delta Forest. That's how much I can take from Metro Plus. Let's see. Okay, the business segments. Okay, it's what I've already read coming from the major headlines from Punch. And let's see. And the sports segment, Super Eagles to face Gabon in World Cup playoffs. And Osimhen's hat-trick fire Eagles into World Cup playoffs. That's good news for the Super Eagles and the football fans in Nigeria. Okay, I think that's all we have from Punch. From Punch, let's move over to Vanguard. Let's see what the headline says there. Okay, the cover story. Illegal financial flows out of Nigeria worsening country's revenue problem. That's according to IMF. Let's see what the details of that story says. Okay, the International Monetary Fund, IMF, has decried illicit financial flows, IFFs, out of Nigeria, noting that it was contributing to the worsening revenue problem of the country. The managing director of the global institution, Ms. Kristalina Georgieva, who stated this at the ongoing 2025 annual meetings of the IMF and World Bank in Washington, D.C., promised revenue focus on tracing such flows to plug fiscal leakages. She said, and I quote, "We believe that for countries like Nigeria, the IMF's renewed focus on tracking illicit financial flows could provide a blueprint for plugging the financial leakages that have long undermined revenue generation and sustained growth. End of quote. Georgieva warned of the growing threat of illicit financial flows, IFFs, a phenomenon which she said had become a major factor undermining the economic and financial stability of nations across the globe. According to her, illicit financial flows, which include stolen public funds, proceeds from criminal activities, and untraceable digital transactions, continue to erode governance systems, drain public resources, and cripple developmental efforts, especially in developing countries and economies. In a recent policy briefing, IMF officials had noted that IFFs now come in multiple dimensions. These range from outright embezzlement of taxpayers' money to private funds channeled into illegal ventures that threaten national welfare. Okay, that's the much I can take on that. Let's see what other top stories Vanguard have for us. Mathematics no longer compulsory for art candidates. That's according to federal government. Naira depreciation not necessarily bad. That's according to IMF. Really? Ooh, I'm sure Nigerians will not like that. I've forgiven my daughter-in-law who killed my son. That's according to Issa. Amend section empowering courts to declare winner in election petitions. Professor Ali tells National Assembly. Group 6 transparency review in aviation ministry spending. Mba's defection. We have challenges, but PDP is not in coma. Ologunagba. Are you sure about that? Police foil kidnapping attempt at Kubwa Forest. All coming from Vanguard. Let's see. And the politics segment, apart from the major headlines, there are other headlines in the politics segment is presidency 2027 election will be a landslide for APC in Enugu. That's according to Ude Okoye. Okay. PDP crisis drama as court shifts hearing of anti-convention suit till Thursday. Okay, that's all from the politics segment. Let's see. The metro segment. Lagos government denies role in Festac demolition. Bandit warlords, Katsina communities agree to lay down arms. That's talking about the peace deals that we keep hearing coming from Katsina State between some communities and bandits. Okay, that's all we have time for Vanguard. From Vanguard, let's go over to Daily Trust. Let's see what the cover story is. IMF raises Nigeria's 2025 growth to 3.9%, a forecast of 4.2% for 2027. Okay, let's see what details of that is. That financial related story. The International Monetary Fund (IMF) has raised Nigeria's economic growth forecast for 2025 to 3.9%, a 0.5 percentage point increase from its earlier projection. The fund attributed the improved outlook to stronger macroeconomic stability, rising investor confidence, and increased oil output. The upward revision was announced on Tuesday during the presentation of the IMF's latest World Economic Outlook report at the ongoing World Bank and IMF annual meetings in Washington, D.C. For 2026, the IMF projects Nigeria's growth to further strengthen to 4.2%, reflecting a 0.9 percentage point improvement from its previous forecast. The fund said the revision reflects reduced domestic uncertainty and Nigeria's limited exposure to the new tariffs imposed by the United States, which has had minimal impact due to the country's modest trade links with the U.S. According to the IMF, the Nigerian economy has shown notable resilience in recent months. It was observed that the exchange rate has appreciated, financial conditions have improved, and investor sentiment has strengthened since July. The IMF also revised its estimate for 2024 growth upwards to 4.1%, representing a 0.7 percentage point increase from its earlier forecast. It explained that the adjustment followed the recent rebasing of Nigeria's gross domestic product (GDP), which now captures a wider range of economic activities, including those within the informal sector. Okay, that for the Daily Trust, the major headlines there. Let's see what other headlines Daily Trust have for us. Mathematics no longer compulsory for art students, that's according to federal government. Basically the same thing we've read from other newspaper. Taraba governor and other bigwigs eye APC. Another huge defection going on there. Current revenue sharing formula is 33 years old, says RMAFC. Dasuki Court dismisses DSS bid to reproduce oil exhibit. Recreation outfit seeks Wike's intervention over demolition threat. FG secures a 585 billion naira investment for solar panels and others. Ex-Foreign Affairs Minister Joy Ogo dies at 79. Okay, let's see. Senate sets up panel on Christian genocide claim, and reps summon CBN and banks over arbitrary charges. And the business segments, federal government, okay, already have that. Crude oil prices struggle to maintain $62 per barrel. And on the politics segment, Wike denies rift with Tinubu, explains absence at council state meeting. Kaduna PDP rep member dumps party. PDP reps write NJC over judicial overreach ahead convention. That's on the politics segment. Still on Daily Trust. Let's see. Raducanu has blood pressure taken in China defeat. That is very necessary. Checking your blood pressure, especially as an athlete. On the international scene, Trump, Egypt, Qatar, Turkey leaders signed Gaza declaration. That happened 2 days ago. Okay, I think that's all we have for Daily Trust. From Daily Trust, let's go over to Daily Post, where the major headlines: the PDP sinks deeper as Tinubu's APC captures Southeast, South. Okay, let's see what details of that is. The People's Democratic Party (PDP) has continued to count its losses following the protracted leadership crisis bedeviling the party since the aftermath of the 2023 general election. The once formidable umbrella is now fraying under the weight of defections, protracted crisis, and loss of public confidence. This even as President Bola Tinubu appears to have successfully demolished the long-standing political walls of Nigeria's southeast and south regions. The latest injury in the PDP came after the Enugu State Governor, Barrister Peter Mbah, formally dumped the PDP for the ruling All Progressives Congress (APC). Mbah made the declaration during a statewide broadcast to the people of the state, saying the move was necessitated to connect the southeastern states to the central government. Daily Post reports that Mbah's exit from the PDP will be followed by that of Bayelsa State Governor Diri Diri, whose defection, it was learned, had been finalized. Diri once served as one of PDP's last loyal stalwarts in the oil-rich zone. His defection to join the APC not only weakens the PDP nationally, but symbolically signals a collapse of opposition resilience in the region that produced former President Goodluck Jonathan. Daily Post reported that before now, Delta State Governor Sheriff Oborevere and Akwa Ibom State Governor Umaino, both from the South region, had moved to the APC with all the officials and appointees earlier in the year. Once regarded as the impregnable fortresses of the PDP for nearly 2 decades, the party held sway in both regions, winning almost every presidential and gubernatorial legislative election in those regions. However, internal wranglings and weak opposition coordination have all contributed to its steady decline. That is sad indeed. Okay, let's see what other headlines Daily Post have for us. Senate constitutes 12-member ad hoc committee on alleged Christian genocide in Nigeria. And 2026 World Cup qualifier, Ronaldo sets new record as Portugal's 2-2 draw with Hungary. Afriland Towers fire. Lagos court orders exhumation autopsy on victims. Okay, let's see what other headlines Daily Post have for us. Another Southeast state will soon fall to APC. That's according to Ude Okoye. Okay. '26 World Cup qualifier, Tuchel reacts to fans' criticism as England qualify for World Cup. Federal government finalizes 4 trillion naira bond plan to clear Genco's debts. That's on the business segments of Daily Post. And NUPRC and World Bank partner to boost decarbonization in Nigeria. Okay, I think that's basically it. Majority of the headlines here is what we've read before. Oh, okay, the Metro segment. Troops rescue 9 kidnapped victims in Kwara community. An ex-convict beats lover to death over 100,000 naira debt. Okay, let's end it there from Daily Post. From Daily Post, let's move over to The Guardian, where let's see what the major headlines there is political. APC consolidates power as Mba ends PDP's 26-year reign in Enugu. Okay, basically what we've read before. IMF Cardoso isolates Nigeria from global uncertainty, raise growth prospects. National Assembly to conclude Electoral Act amendment by December. That's all on The Guardian. Tinubu rallies Super Eagles to soar into 2026 World Cup. Omahia residents protest soaring electricity bills. APC adopt consensus in Ekiti-Guba primary. And Trump hails Malta Charlie Kirk at a posthumous and medal ceremony. Okay, how ASUU's action allegedly sabotaged federal government truce effort. Okay, I think that's all we have. Federal government and Genco's finalized framework to reduce 4 trillion naira power sector debt. Yeah, okay. That's all we have from The Guardian. From The Guardian, let's move over to The Sun. Okay, from The Guardians to The Nation. And the major headlines there, it's basically the same thing with some of the headlines. Mba joining APC, not out of fear but for prosperity. First Lady empowers 800 farmers in Rivers State. Supreme Court Justice integrates law, religion into legal education. $3 billion earmarked for Eastern Rail project, says Minister. Osun Council funds court adjourns till November 27 for ruling on jurisdiction and joiner applications. Okay, some of the headlines here are repetition. Let's see if I can see something different. Okay, Tinubu seeks Senate confirmation of chairman and 28 commissioners for FCC. Rotimi Ekiti is united behind Oyebanji's vision. INEC reaffirms commitment to transparency and inclusive elections. And in business segment, industry witnessed stock market growth with stock exchange pension broad index. Now that's still on the nation. And what to know as Nigeria hosts Benin in World Cup decider. Okay, pretty much the same thing with what I've heard before from other newspaper. Okay, from the nations, let's go over to The Sun, where the major headlines there, it's Shetima, Kalu, Uzodinma, others speak as Mba joins APC. That's reacting to Mba joining APC. Okay, and other headlines from The Sun, Osimhen world's best striker. That's according to Shell. Okwebolo sacks Osagye, Attorney General, reassigns Ohom Bamu and Jofel. Shetima, Kalu, Uzodinma, others speak. Okay, police rescue kidnap victims in Delta. I was mocked when I joined APC in 2016. That's from Senator Kalu. That's still on The Sun. Let's see what other headlines have The Sun have for us. Okay, politics and power segment, 2027 time to hold politicians to account. That's Hayatuddin. Okay, pretty much the same thing. On the business segment, AI emerges new weapon in a global cybersecurity war. That's according to PwC. And Africa must build own data computing power to drive AI growth. That's according to NITDA. I think that's the much I can take from The Sun. Pretty much the same thing we've read from other dailies. And from The Sun, let's go over to this day. And the major headlines there, the cover story, FG Hills Shell's fresh $2 billion gas investment upstream, and upstream FIDs exceed $8 billion. Let's quickly take a look at details of that. That looks interesting. In a landmark deal coming after 40 years of discovery of the HI gas field in 1985, Shell Nigeria Exploration and Production Company Limited, a subsidiary of Shell PLC, together with Sunlink Energies and Resources Limited, yesterday announced the final investment decision (FID) on the asset located offshore Nigeria. Shell disclosed this yesterday in a statement issued in London, saying that when completed, the project will supply 350 million standard cubic feet of gas per day, approximately 60,000 barrels of oil equivalent per day at peak production to Nigeria Liquefied Natural Gas and LNG, where Shell has a 26.5% interest. The development elicited delightful reactions from President Bola Tinubu, the Minister of State for Petroleum, Senator Ainekin Lokpebore, as well as the Special Advisor on Energy to the President, Olu Vehian. The oil major stated that the development of the assets will boost feedstock supply to NLNG, which produces and exports liquefied natural gas (LNG) to global market. Shell also said the production was expected to begin on the HI field before the end of this decade, that's 2030. The HI project rather is one of the major upstream projects long anticipated by both the operators and the federal government to boost Nigeria's gas production and help to power the nation's economy through increased domestic gas supply and utilization. Okay, that's from this day. Let's see other headline stories. Okay, I think it's pretty much the same thing. Unido laments low manufacturing contribution to GDP. Fagbemi seeks stronger laws institution in fight against cybercrime. House summons Cardoso over excessive bank charges and launches probe into customer exploitation. Okay, yeah, I think that's all we have from this day. All you just have to do is visit your nearest newspaper stand, pick a newspaper of your choice, and of course educate yourself, inform yourself, and maybe even entertain yourself on any of the newspaper of your choice, from Punch to Vanguard to Daily Trust and Daily Post, Guardians, The Nation, The Sun. This day, just pick your choice and get yourself informed. Up next is analysis with Rufai Hussaini.
Right, many stories making the rounds. So IMF has increased the Nigeria growth projection to about 3.9% from about 3% that they had before at the spring meetings. They are talking about increased productivity in the oil and gas sector. But we should also be careful about that story, because it's not in the month of September that OPEC reported that Nigeria production slumped about 1.39 million barrels per day. So in as much as we want to push out a good news, but we should also look at the parameters. You see, that's all I always call for, because if we don't look at the parameters, it's very sad. So we need to be able to look at the parameters, the empirical parameters of how this economy, works, and how we can now segue that. But it's some cheering news as regards the state of play of the economy, and hopefully inflation will keep going down, and we'll be able to somehow challenges we face. There's been stories of the security forces going in and asking questions as regards the planned protest. You see, what we just want to say is that if any group wants to stage a protest for advocacy for Nnamdi Kanu, they have their rights under the Constitution. They have their rights. In fact, another angle that we might not be looking at is the release of Nnamdi Kanu might be made political, probably used as a trump card, maybe closer to the election period. I don't know. I'm just thinking out loud. So they might want to release him closer to the election period, or they might want the court process to go on and all of that. But the question is, why are we always having people still agitating for the marginalization of the Southeast? And it's visible, it's obvious, and that's why we can't deceive ourselves. Look at what is happening, where you see bandits holding peace meetings and all of that thereabouts. And you are also seeing the standards at which people are being treated in this country. And there's a level of unfairness. We cannot deceive ourselves. And there's a level of marginalization. And if we don't ask ourselves questions, then we can't move further. Have every part of this country been marginalized? Yes. Has the Southeast been marginalized? Yes. At any point in time, every part of this country have screamed Araba. In fact, it was the North that first screamed Araba when they felt unfairly cheated after the 60s coup. And because of that, that class of military top brass have constantly always fought for the interests of people from the northern part of the country. Let's not forget that. It's a part of our political dynamics. Then before you had, the civil, war, the reprisal coups and all of that, where the Southeast are talking about secession. So these attempts to demonize people, it's not fair in the country. And the country can never move on. When the Southwest felt marginalized during the time of MQ Abiola, I mean, we had groups like the Odua People's Congress and Gani Adams. They also kept, in fact, as recent as this time, Sunday Igboho was also pushing for like an Odua Republic, which we don't support anyway, which we condemn, which I personally don't support. I condemn because I think what binds us together is greater than spiritual division. But anybody in the center, anybody that leads this country, it is incumbent on you to bring about peace and unity. That's just it. And that's why I say no to any ethnicization and ethnic baiting and politicization that happens in any part of the country. And that's why I want to revisit the matter. And it's not good to skew the narrative of, oh, what is it called there? Igbos are being hated in Lagos and all of that. No, 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 no. The Lagos state government took an action. We condemn that action because it disrupts livelihoods and properties of Igbos. And there are many other Yoruba people too that live in peace and harmony with Igbos. I don't have problems with Igbos. So when we make that generalization that Igbos are not, there are other people that welcome Igbos in Lagos. What we can only promote is peace and unity. And when the government goes astray, we call them and we condemn them. Because all of those finding these embers of this division in this country, they are just a little smidgen compared to the generality of the people. So we must do well and constantly promote unity in our country. And there must not be marginalization of every side. And that's why I've always advocated that the case of Nnamdi Kanu, let's have a political solution to it. I mean, these were things that were discussed with Muhammadu Buhari and all of that. Let's have a political solution to it. And look at ways that we can make this country a whole lot better. And people should not also, the things I disagree with Nnamdi Kanu, people should not also call for violence and division because their group feel marginalized. That's never the way forward. That's never the way forward because it does only lead to bloodshed. And we have seen how the bloodshed, but the same Nnamdi Kanu has seen it that a lot of unscrupulous elements have hijacked the process and he has totally condemned all of the things going on in the Southeast. So this is the time for political solutions. And that's what I've always advocated for. I mean, many other stories making the rounds today. ASUU is still on strike, by the way. We are just looking and seeing how the federal government will be able to work on that. So you see, this President Tinubu's pardon has caused back and forth between the Bello family. Somebody wrote a letter in the papers today condemning the pardon. The father of the young man that was killed, Bello, have now said he has accepted and is the will of God. So you can see discrepancies in the family. But see, generally, I would like to say that pardon was sad for our country. This new set of pardon that President Tinubu did, that he pardoned most drug pushers and drug pushers and people of questionable character, was very sad for our country. And whoever pushed this to President Tinubu for political consideration, the likes of Farouk Lawan and all of that, it's another sore point for our country. And you see, people will always hold you accountable. We cannot build a nation that there's no accountability. I'm just going to say that. And it will be on record that you did it. Just like it was on record when we condemned Goodluck Jonathan pardoning, I think it's Oga Dipriye and all of that. That's the way it is. Court rejects, has declined, a federal high court has declined to admit a set of evidence that exhibits sought to tender against the former security advisor NSA, Colonel Zambo Dansuki, who served as NSA under Junta, is answering an amended 6-count charge bordering on money laundering and illegal possession of firearms. A court in the ruling delivered by Justice Peter Alifo refused the evidence on the premise that the exhibits were rejected when it was first tendered. So the case of Sambo Dansuki still goes on, and it's been on for a bit. And we all know how Sambo Dansuki was locked in President Buhari's gulag for a while, and what panned out. Anyway, the governor of Enugu has finally decamped to the PDP. I mean, to come from the PDP to the APC. Let's see how it pans out. He was asked a question that hope this will not affect your political chances. He said the only thing that will affect his political chances is if the pace of his development stalls. All of it we'll get to see when the time comes. All of them are giving reason for the campaign. In fact, there are now some people pushing a court case agenda against the PDP that the PDP's convention in Ibadan must not hold on the 15th and 16th. So let's see what is happening to the internal cracks in the PDP. All of this, only time will tell. But one thing I keep saying is uh, politicians will always do anything that suits them. When it's in their favor, they'll come together. With the way Abure was following Peter Obi all around and they were forming solidarity in the last election, if they tell you that Abure and Peter Obi will fight because Labour Party became successful, you will not believe it. In fact, today, there's a story about Abure still attending INEC stakeholders meeting after the Supreme Court judgment had ruled against him. So, so people like Umba, that is living alongside Ungwai and federal lawmakers and all of that, because it favors them now, saying that the party did not listen to the voice of the people. Um him and Sullivan Chime and a couple of other people, they can make the argument now because it favors them. Only time will tell. The true determinant of all of this will be the people of Enugu. But I think it should also be put out there in our constitution. I know it's only lawmakers when they defect that will call for elections among their rank and file. A governor that came in on a platform of a particular party, if he defects, I think he should be up for elections because that will also ward off defection. You see, if you don't have laws that are tight enough to be able to stem the tide of all of this shenanigans happening, you're not going to build a society that will stand the test of time. And those are the problems we keep seeing in society. The earlier we answer these questions, the better it is for ourselves. So PDP is gone from Enugu State. It's now APC. Let's see how it pans out. In all of this, time will be the determinant. Time will tell. And we'll keep seeing all of this. So a couple of stories making around. The Super Eagles has finally done well against Benin. We beat them 4-0. And we're up to the playoffs level now. From the playoff, we will have to play for African teams, Congo, Gabon, and the likes. And afterwards, then we move up and we go and play in the international playoff for the two spots available to the World Cup. I just want to advise them. They must win. All hands must be on deck. They must do everything possible to be able to ensure they wrap this up once and for all and bring this smile to the faces of Nigerians. And any support that the Football Association will give them, that they know that will help them, we must do everything possible. And God will give us grace.
That was Rufai Husseini with analysis there on our front page review on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. Joining me to further analyze is Chuks Enwonwu, former Commissioner of Police. Mr. Enwonwu, thank you very much for joining us on the front page this morning.
Good morning to you and good morning to the listeners.
Okay, where do we start? Okay, let's start with educational story. It seemed to be the major stories across board on national dailies this morning. Mathematics no longer compulsory for art students. That's coming from the Ministry of Education. What do you think about that?
Well, you see, mathematics as a subject is scientific, and somehow technical.
Yes.
It's not a trait that everybody must have that knowledge or the skill of mathematics. So if the educational system has been redesigned that it will not be compulsory for art students, it is very, very much in order, because you cannot give what you don't have. You can't force somebody to learn mathematics and then be proficient in it. It is something that is a question of talent. It has to be somebody's trait as well as an attribute. It must have been like gifted for the students or person or persons. They have to be mathematical inclined, and it's core science. It's physical sciences. Those who are students of mathematics end up doing major science courses, things like computer science, system science, engineering, and other sciences. You hardly see people who do arts, core arts, doing courses in mathematics. It does not apply at all. So it will be incongruent for people who are the designers to compel those who are not science inclined to that it's a must for them to do mathematics. It doesn't go well. That means you want to discourage upcoming generation and students who are very, very good in the arts, not to further their education. So it's apt and very much in order to give space for them to continue to do more in arts than to coerce them to go and do mathematics, which is purely scientific. So it is quite in order for them to have taken that decision of not coercing or compelling these youngsters to do mathematics. You can see even in law, those who are lawyers, some of them don't even know 2 plus 2 in mathematics. But they turn out to be very good lawyers. Some of them end up even making first class in law. And lo and behold, they never did anything like even the basic mathematics of the O level. So I think I give kudos to them for that initiative and for that non-insistence that people who are doing arts will be forced to pick mathematics. That's my take to it.
Let's hope this will be a springboard to the educational refurbishment in Nigeria, where our teaching at the university tends to be way more theoretical than anything. That's why polytechnics came into being in the first place, where you have opportunities for people with much more practical. Hello, sir.
Yes, I'm there. The thing is this, like you have just said, polytechnics offer opportunities for people to do technical courses.
But unfortunately, a lot of our polytechnics have now been converted into universities, thereby tarnishing the reasons why those polytechnics were even created in the first place.
You see, the thing that made the government or the system to go into turning the polytechnics into a degree awarding institution, which presupposes that there are universities, has some social implication. in the sense that those who are awarded the degrees seems to have an edge. Those awarded degrees appears to be discriminated against those who have diplomas, whether lower diploma or higher diploma, at the detriment of diploma holders. So that is exactly what has been playing out, which even made the educational system to do the same on even colleges of education. To the extent that we have universities of education these days, like Alvan Ikoku there in Owerri, which is one of the oldest teaching institution for would-be teachers. They used to have their NCEs there and other certificate courses in education, but they turned it to degree awarding. So you can now see the reason why this quest for people to have, especially their bachelor's degree, whether it is Bachelor of Education for those in University of Education, then for those in technical schools like the polytechnics, they now emphasize Bachelor of Technology, BTech. That's what good percentage of them go for, so that they will be on equal footing and they can compete effectively with their contemporaries who also have bachelor's degree.
But those things can still be actualized without having to convert those polytechnics or college of educations into universities. They can just make them degree awarding institutions, whether college of education or polytechnics. That can still be achieved. They don't have to turn all of them into universities. I mean, in other climes, there are other institutions, higher institutions other than universities.
You are absolutely correct. And just like I earlier pointed out, it is question of mentality. The psychology there in the typical African and particularly Nigeria is such that anybody that parades degree is what matters to them. That degree is one. Then the institution where you get it is also another. That's why some people who go to some private universities are still being discriminated against. This, apart from the accreditation. Some people will tell you that you went to glorified secondary school and you're just parading that degree. That there are those of them who have been to Ivy League universities in Nigeria. And you don't really blame them, because to them it is prestigious and gives them an edge in getting employment. That's why they keep emphasizing on them. But the unfortunate bit of it is that when you do a comparative analysis, then what happens to those who are people from Ivy League universities, first 10 in the world, when you are talking of Stanford, talking of MIT, Boston, Massachusetts, you are talking of Oxford University, Cambridge, and maybe California State University. Those ones who always fall within the first 10. If you Google it, they will give you the whole first 10 universities in rating
in the world.
So what then do you expect of them if we begin to discriminate right here in Nigeria? You tell them because they didn't go to OAU or Unilag or University of Ife or University of Nigeria and Nsukka, Ahmadu Bello University, that their own is not as qualitative as yours. I mean, that is why you can see people, some universities like even Covenant and after Babalola's university, trying to beat that psychology by producing people, especially after Babalola, where he produces people that end up in law school, making them first class in law at the law school, apart from making it in Afro Babalola University and all that. So the earlier we begin to change our psyche and attitude to those developments, the better for us and for the youth in general.
See, talking about education amendments, all this means nothing if we keep having incessant strike in Nigeria. Of course, ASUU still on strike, by the way, and the meetings with the federal government have yielded no result whatsoever.
You see, the issue of strike by ASUU is a very worrisome development. It has become a recurring decimal, and I don't blame ASUU because come to think of it, when you look at how much they earn vis-a-vis the level of inflation in Nigeria today, you see that they have very cogent points in their argument. And if they are lucky and have the connection to be able to take up similar appointments in universities in Europe, America, or Canada, I mean, you can understand what I'm saying. Because their pay package will be something spectacular, and I mean, the prestige that they are working in certain institutions of higher learning outside Nigeria is equally there. It makes them more marketable, So the earlier the government looks at that and work on that basis, the better. Even those who go to teach in universities like in Uganda or even Kenya or Tanzania or South Africa, their pay package is something in very good, level, in such a way that if you compare it with what you pay them in Naira, you see that you are just paying them peanuts here.
Sure.
And those who have not been able to go to those places is because of this lack of opportunity and luck. So if you have that connection, luck and opportunity, you will equally be able to get appointment to teach in a tertiary institution in any other African country. So why would you be here in Nigeria and be subjected to that meager pay that they give to lecturers and professors? These are people who are seasoned in teaching and research in other international universities, but because they try to be nationalistic, they try to be patriotic, they have that altruistic motive and tendencies, they come home to impact their knowledge to Nigerians so that our youth will have brighter future. You now subject them as if they are peasants, or that you just give them peanuts in the name of salaries to professors. It's very unfortunate and unfair
Indeed.
to the educational system.
Indeed. Let's go over to a more economic story that's making headlines across board, where the ongoing 2025 annual meetings of the IMF and World Bank in Washington, D.C., promising to, came out with lots of information. But the most interesting one is illicit financial flow, where the IMF has decried illicit financial flows out of Nigeria, noting that it was contributing to the worsening revenue problem of the country. What do you think about that story, considering a lot of our politicians are also engages in these illicit financial flows?
You see, we are worried. Anybody that is, a lover of the nation and the economic growth, we have to realize that what is being done is what they call money laundering. And money laundering is one major thing that drags an economy down. They call it rent seeking, they call it round tripping, and it is the handiwork of this political class. Okay, you can imagine the petition we've been reading in the papers as alleged that somebody went with raw cash to buy 3 houses in Florida at $2 million each. How did he transfer the money if not by money laundering? So a lot of people are benefiting from it. I won't blame only the political class. Even those who are bankers themselves and people in the banking institution are part of this problem. And we cannot continue like that, because if you look at the indicators, it's not positive at all as far as the economy is concerned. Whatever it is, whichever way, you see, IMF, they are not magicians, and they are not talking it because they hate some faces. They are presenting this as it is, and it is not in any way good or positive for our economic development. So all hands must be on deck, and all efforts have to be made to make sure we control and contain this issue of money laundering around tripping. So that's the only way to save the economy and strengthen the value of the naira as our national currency in the face of international competition.
And then obviously the presidential pardon is still generating reaction. The Seydu family right now is kind of split into two. Some are against the pardon, and some have left it to the hand of God. What do you think about the whole situation?
You see, it's unfortunate. There are terms of reference before presidential pardon is granted, and it appears they misadvised the president. President is one person, no, and the advice they gave him was defective in one way or the other. There are checks and balances before you end up giving prerogative of mercy to some persons. Okay, look at the issue of Herbert Macaulay. Herbert Macaulay's issue had gone with pre-colonial times, and Nigeria got independence in 1960. So if you're talking of prerogative of mercy, you should talk from 1960 till date. You can't be retrogressive and be talking of something that happened in 1925.
Yeah.
Even if you ask, where are the members of the family of
with monuments built in his name? I mean, the Naira, for crying out loud, has his face. So what's the purpose of a mercy?
Exactly. You know, and like the family you're talking about, some have come out to say that even the victim's family were part of the people that pleaded, please, let bygone be bygone. Then some say, no, we are not part of it. I mean, why would they allow space for this type of argument to come up? It doesn't add up at all. That is a lesson for them, so that in future they will try their best to be sure that they do a thorough profiling and screening before they come out with the list. The list mustn't be omnibus. If they do for 20 people, it's okay. Look at even allegations that people who committed heinous offenses like armed robbery, kidnapping, and so on and so forth, they didn't allow them to finish their sentencing. It calls for suspicion. People believe that those who misadvised Mr. President must have been beneficiaries from maybe corruption. Maybe they have been paid money and they went and wrote one nonsense memo and forwarded the thing for approval and followed it up to get Mr. President to approve it. Because if they had done due diligence, good number of them that they granted that prerogative of mercy wouldn't benefit from it. They will still continue to languish in detention or correctional centers, to spend out the duration they had been jailed to do.
Okay, Mr. Nwowo, let's hold your thought there. Just 1 minute. Let's go for a commercial break. We'll be right back. Please stay with us.
Thank you.
Customer, welcome. What do you want buy?
I want buy changeover. Cutout fuse and distribution board made of 100% heavy duty copper.
Oh, come, I get them. See, I'm here.
No, now I'm looking for Slatter Star J cutout fuse and distribution board, Nipo cutout fuse, Star J solar battery, inverter, MPPT controller, and solar panel.
But Oga,
don't worry. I know where to get them. Whether na Star J changeover cutout fuse, Slatter distribution board, Nipo cutout fuse, Star J solar battery, inverter, MPPT controller, and solar panel, Star J ceiling fan, sockets, all earthen materials. Make you no go do cover wise pan foolish show. Slatter Star J Indian product na #1 since 1961. Made of 100% heavy duty solid copper with no compromise. Available in all leading electrical shops nationwide. Slatter Star J na you Pico.
Lagos, are you ready? The Niger Landlord Summit 2025 is here. Join us on Saturday, 1st November 2025 at the Golden Tulip Hotel, International Airport Road, for the biggest gathering of real estate minds in Nigeria. Come and discover how to profit from the booming housing demand in Nigeria. Explore funding and investment opportunities that work. Gain insights and government housing policies shaping the market. Experience the latest prop tech innovations transforming property ownership. Network with top developers, investors, and policy makers all in one room. Don't miss this power-packed event. Registration is 50,000 naira only, with full access to sections, exhibitions, with premium networking and refreshment. How to register? Make payment to VOPFM account number 112 416 8488. Again, 112 416 8488. Zenith Bank. Send your proof of payment via WhatsApp to 0707 115 4297. 0707 115 4297. The Niger Landlord Summit.
You're welcome back. If you're just tuning in, this is Front Page on Voice of the People 90.3 FM, the show where we analyze our national dailies. And still analyzing with us is Chuks Inwunwu, former Commissioner of Police. Mr. Inwunwu, are you still with us?
I am there waiting for you.
Okay. So, as a former Commissioner of Police, as a former police officer, what do you think of this? Of course, lots of the those released, those that benefited from the prerogative of mercy, were criminals and drug barons, and one would be wondering, how do you expect the police officers, the drug law enforcement agencies, and the judges to feel after all the hard work put into prosecuting these people, and of course their lives when they get to find out these people have been released?
Well, it is unfortunate that it has happened, and it is a government decision. It's a presidential directive, so they don't have a choice than to comply strictly with the instruction of the government. But having said that, what they need to do is to properly document those people before they are released, and profile them, at least to have their destinations or their addresses, their background, as well as their contact address, their families in the event of emergency, and all that. That should be on the surface. Then beneath that arrangement, they need to continue to monitor those persons, especially those of them who are within the age range of lower than 50 years. Okay. Because the major thing that is staring them in the face now is survival. How would they feed? How would they be, manage themselves? And it's not every family that is rich enough to continue to sustain an ex-convict, even though pardoned now. Some will expect them to go and struggle like others in order to eke out their living. So those who fall within that bracket still have this challenge of survival. So if they are not lucky to have sustenance, they'll still go back to crime. They'll still look for surviving gang members, and who should come and give them some succor or some support, financial support. And nothing goes for nothing. If they come to give them those support, the next thing is that they'll remind them that they have to be part of what is ongoing in order to survive, because it can't be a case of monkey will be walking and baboon will be eating. So you will now find out that some of them, especially those who are less than 50, those from 50 up, they are tired, and having spent some time behind the bars, they may not be that enthusiastic to go back to crime. But the ones that are much younger, I doubt they may still want to survive, and that entails, going still back to crime one way or the other, for them to be able to eke out a living. That's the way I see it.
Okay, so let's end this analysis with politics, where PDP keeps sinking deeper as APC is beginning to capture southeast and south with the latest defection coming from Enugu State, where the governor Peter Mba has formally decamped to APC from PDP, and it's like things are not are going from bad to worse for PDP here.
Well, the entire thing is political. For somebody like Peter Mba, he's interested in making sure that he gets his second term. And he saw what happened in Edo after Obaseki left. That one is now history. The Supreme Court had already given its judgment, and there's government in place there. That was what I believe made people like Sharif in Delta to quickly jump into APC so that his second term will be guaranteed. And no, from Akwa Ibom did the same. So Peter Mba, I was not surprised. I've predicted it long ago that we're expecting that the next person will be Peter Mba, and he has joined the forum now. And you look at any other person who is also waiting for second term will also likely join the same bandwagon. The only person I doubt that may not do that is somebody like the man in Abia State, T.A. Ochi, because that one is delivering to the people, and the people are solidly behind him. They are with him.
That's like the only genuine Labour Party in Nigeria right now.
Not necessarily whether it's Labour, the party is even immaterial. If the man decides to contest and even leave the party and goes to any other party, maybe decides that he will contest in party AAA, for instance, the people will still follow him and make sure they defend their votes, and that the votes must count. It's not a question of anybody coming to alter the figures, because that one will bring down total breakdown of law and order. Very likely to do that in that place. See the way the masses are behind the man, the way they are following him 24/7. It's enough to give you an idea that the man is the man of the people, and it's not as if, like they say in Hebrew, that all dogs eat feces, but the one that carries it on the mouth is the one they will call feces eater. As if all the politicians don't have some cut from whatever is coming from IGR and from the Federation account. But the way you do it is what matters to the people. Give them the basic comfort, like roads, power supply, give them Medicare, good educational institutions, good pay package for the public servants or civil servants. That's the basic things that is statutory, that is expected. But go to 90% or more of these governors, you don't see that. They're only packing the money, thinking of the next election. They are not even thinking of the next generation. That will show you that typical politicians, they are not statesmen in any way. So if they indulge themselves in that, how do you expect progress to come up? That's why if you allow the people and give a level playing ground, virtually 50% of them can never get second term. More than 50% of them, they vote the people out. But with the Nigerian system, as alleged, that is being manipulated in every election, that's why some of them will even be boasting that they are certain of going for second term. People like the man in Imo, he told us that whatever we want to do, those who want to, whether they vote for him or not, that he was already there. And it turned out like that. How can you only have one vote? Maybe your supporters all put together, all of you will not have more than 1% vote. Then you'll be telling us whether we like it or not, whether we vote or not, that is already there. Meaning that you have a hidden agenda, you have already planned out a formula to get yourself back to that place. So that is the pain and the problem we are having in this country, Nigeria.
Unfortunate. Mr. Nwogu, thank you very much for your time. It's a pleasure talking to you.
It's my pleasure too, for you to always tolerate and accommodate me.
Thank you very much, sir.
My pleasure to you. Have a wonderful day too.
Thanks, sir. That's Chuks Nwogu, former Commissioner of Police, talking to us live on Voice of the People 90.3 FM and the program Front Page. Okay, it is time for your contributions. The phone lines are open: 0700 903 903 903. Again, 0700 903 903 903 or 003 692 9933. Again, 0803 692 9933. You can also call or text us via WhatsApp, and our WhatsApp line is 081 717 56338. Again, 081 717 56338. Hello.
Hello, Solomon.
Good morning. Welcome to VOP.
Good morning, sir. My name is Obina. Calling from Egypt.
Okay, Obina, go ahead. Talk to us.
What type of country are these people building for us? Because these people, for me, they are not Nigerians. All of them have to have citizens. What do we have in common with them? They are not schooling in Nigeria. Their children are not in Nigeria. Their children are not schooling in Nigeria. They are not even eating the same food with us. They are just getting ready. They are just getting ready to, in anything happening in the country, they will just fly away. Packing money, keeping it in abroad, just getting ready. We don't go to the same hospital. Even though it's headache, then we fly abroad. They are only come to make the wealth of Nigeria and to go. They are all getting ready. All of them have houses in abroad. We don't have anything in common with them at all. Their children are not schooling in Nigeria. That's the reason why the country is like that.
Okay.
We have entered one chance. We are in problem. A group set of people have hijacked the country.
Okay, thank you.
They have hijacked the country.
Thank you very much.
All these ones that they are defecting from this party to this party, Bidwo Uzodinma of Imo State win the second term. He didn't win. Nobody voted him because they know what they are doing. If Tinubu get an entrance of the second one, now we will just keep quiet. Nothing will happen.
Okay.
Nothing. Everybody will just keep quiet.
Thank you.
Nothing will happen.
Thank you very much.
Everybody
Thank you.
of it.
Hello.
Hello, my good brother.
Welcome to VOP. Tell us in where you're calling from,
God bless
please.
you. Sir. My name is Fine, calling you from Ijagamo.
Okay, fine. Talk to us.
Hello.
Go ahead. We
Hello.
can hear you. Go ahead. Talk to us. Go ahead.
Okay. Please, I want to these people that are said they are rulers. I'm not sure that they are Nigerians because there's no one that is a Nigerian that have the progress of his country at heart can be treating Nigerians like a slave in their own country with their own commonwealth that God has given to them voluntarily from his willing heart for his mercy that are provided for Nigerians to enjoy, to take care of their needs. You know, 2 or 3 people or 12 of them or 20 something of them are just uselessing the country's money, buying houses in abroad, making themselves comfortable. And they are not Nigerians, because if you are Nigerians, even if they use that money or stolen money and build companies here and employ people, it's not better. Look at Wike.
Okay.
The house he bought in overseas for his children. Eh? This
Thank
one
you.
pay Yaya Bello, pay money for so school for how many years? These people are not Nigerians, so
Thank
I don't know. They're
Thank
not human beings at all. They're not thinking of Nigerians.
Thank
because
you.
if you are Nigerians.
Hello.
Hello, sir.
Welcome to VOP. Tell us in where you're calling from, please.
Good morning.
Good morning.
I'm calling from Ajawa State.
Okay, Ajawa Estate. Talk to us. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
Mr. Jude, well done for your job.
Thank you.
Yeah, this our brother that speak to us this morning, he speak well. Everything he said is okay. Yes, sir, I want to ask a question. Are you with me?
I'm with you. Go ahead.
Good. Talking every morning, every day. I don't think the thing will bring answer. We all know that the way our governors, president, and the senators are going in this country since APC take over, it's not going well with anybody. Anybody that tells that Nigeria now is happy is a lie. But the question I want to ask, sir, is there no any way that we can use to tackle these people? That's my question.
Okay. Thank you.
Hello?
Thank you.
So I don't have any answer from you.
It's no middle answer, beg.
No, but as you are the presenter, I thought you give me the two way. Okay, if we do it, okay, sir. I believe there is a lot of people that are educated more than us. There are a lot of people like this man that speak to us, the former commissioner of police. He knows people that I don't know. He can stand up and call some lawyers that he know and organize.
Well, you're
Let these
already
people-
answering the question.
Sir?
I say you're already answering your question.
Good. As you don't want to, lighten me more. Then they organize and carry out that is used and follow them. Let them come out and say, we want Nigeria to be in this way. Okay, look at the presidential election is coming, 2027. The INEC and whatever, they are there in the way they will, gang up and they still be there 2027.
Okay.
And nobody that come out and say, okay, let us follow this way.
Thank you.
And get
Thank
these
you.
people and get what we want.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
My name is Akachuku from Major State.
Thank you. Hello. 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 Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to VOP. Tell us where you're calling from, please.
Solomon.
Yes. Welcome to VOP.
Yeah, good morning. Listen, I want to say my mind I'm talking now. Number one, let's talk about Nigerian certificates. And we are talking again about the school. You spend 4 years for a course. And because of riot and breaking down of schools and all the rest of them, you spend 7-8 years. Then you go abroad again to school. They look at you as a criminal because this is a course that will take 4 years, but you spend 7-8 years. What are we doing in Nigeria? 2, let me talk again about Obi and clearance of Obi, Peter Obi. People want Peter Obi to come and talk about Nnamdi Kanu. It's not what he's fighting for. And this man is not even fighting for president. You give him president, it's to you. You don't give him what is to you. The man is so comfortable. Very, very comfortable.
Okay.
He's fighting for the Nigerians as a whole. Then we'll come to the third one. You saw what happened in Madagascar. Even the president of Madagascar asked the armies, even the police, to kill the civilians that are protesting. The armies joined the protestants, and even the police joined. You saw what happened in Madagascar. You saw what happened in Nepal. You saw what happened in Sri Lanka. It will happen in Nigeria. I bet you. Watch out and see.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Hello.
Yeah, hello, good morning.
Good morning. Welcome to VOP. Tell us where you're calling from, please.
My name is Daniel. I'm calling from Alaba.
Okay, Daniel. Talk to us.
Let me take a take from Mbada to Defete. I want to tell all the whole governors, if they like, make them defect. But all I want to tell them that 2027 is the masses who will decide. Masses will rise up with their PVC and vote them out. So everything I want to say now is the whole masses should get their PVC and make sure they no bribe. We are going to vote massively and vote all these people out.
Okay.
Because that's the only way we can fight them. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello. Welcome to VOP.
Hello, good morning, Solomon.
Good morning. Tell us where you're calling from, please.
I'm calling from Mapoluku, Osip.
Okay, my colleague. Go ahead. Talk to us.
My second is the wave of governors recklessly dumping the party that made them to party that is not performing. It's worrisome, honestly, because you lead something that is worse or something something that is better. Then in this case, reverse is the case. It's very unfortunate because charity will never forgive them. You can just balance of make this something and for something that is very, very irrelevant to the life of the people. The pardon the president has done to all the dead. You couldn't allow them to serve their term. It's like embodying the criminal to continue to thrive in this country. If that's how the nation is going to move forward, honestly, it's very, very worrisome.
Okay.
They should rethink and make a very human-based policy.
Thank you.
Such a lot of Nigerians. Thank you.
Thank you. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome to VOP. Tell us in where you're calling from, please. Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Welcome to VOP.
Hello. Hello. Good morning.
Good morning. Tell us in where you're calling from, please.
I'm calling from Muslim.
Okay, Anne, talk to us.
Please, there's a question that I want to ask. And I want that question to be answered, please. I need a answer to that question. The question is, if peradventure Nnamdi Kanu die in the custody of Nigeria, the God forbid, if they release his corpse to Nigeria, to Igbos, will they take it? I want that question to be answered. Will they at all release the corpse to Nigeria, Igbos? And if they release the corpse to Igbos, will they take it? Will they accept his corpse? So, now that it's alive, if they don't want to release that man to go. So, peradventure, if he die in their custody, will they release it to Igbos? And if they release the Igbos, will the Igbos accept his corpse? Thank you.
Thank you. Okay, let's read one or two messages before we sign off. Let's see, where do we start? Good morning. It is unfortunate that Nigeria have turned to one-party system under the leadership of President Tinubu. The question is, why all this affection to APC? The answer is they are afraid of facing persecution that may likely face them if they refuse to defect. Today, petrol price has gone up to 926 naira per litre. 1 kg of gas gone up to 2,000 naira. The masses are seriously suffering of hunger and pain. ASUU is on strike. Our children are at home instead of school. In the mix of all this, our governors are busy campaigning for President Tinubu re-election in 2027, singing to your mandate, we shall stand, mandate of hunger and hardship, what a pity. I call all this Amala and their belle-faced politics. They will be disappointed in 2027 election. Benjamin from Shogunle. Thank you very much, Benjamin. That's the much we can take. Obviously, I'm not done. I'll be right back at 10:30 and then I'll read all your messages. Let me read out the WhatsApp line. So keep sending your WhatsApp messages and I'll be sure to read them on the other side of the show, which is at 10:30. 081-717-56338. Again, 081-717-56338. That's a WhatsApp line. Keep the messages coming in, and when I come back at 10:30, I will read them. And of course, by then I'll have time to pick all your calls, and then you will make your contribution in peace. So I'll be right back at 10:30, and the program is Front Page on Voice of the People 90.3 FM. I am Solomon Ofem. Do follow me on IG, Solofem1, Solofem figure 1, and on Twitter, Solofem.
Customer, welcome. What you want buy?
I wan buy changeover cutout fuse and distribution board made of 100% heavy duty copper.
Oh, come, I get am. See am here.
No, now I'm looking for Star J solar battery, inverter,